Montreal Canadiens home opener at the Bell Center after starting the season on the road for their first 3 games, coming back from 3 games and 4 nights on the road with a record of 2 wins and 1 loss. And the Canadiens tonight in front of their fans, I thought it was amazing player introductions, an unbelievable tribute to the late Ken Dryden, and it was a game that had almost everything, including exchanges and leads. The Canadiens were up 1-0. They were up 2-1. They were down 3-2. Then they were down 4-3 in period number 3. They go on a late power play with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in regulation. Ivan Demidov does his magic and ties it up on a beautiful goal on the power play. The game goes to overtime. Seattle had possession of the puck most of the time, but when the Montreal Canadiens finally got the puck in the offensive zone, Marty St. Louis calls a timeout. Nick Suzuki wins a key faceoff. It goes to Lane Hutson. He does the dipsy doodle. He dazzles the Seattle players and passes the puck to Cole Caufield, who in close, goes upstairs, scores a goal, his second goal of the game. Cole Caufield is your first star. The Montreal Canadiens win by a score of 5-4 in overtime. We're going to get all your reaction. I'm going to go to Brian Wilde later in the podcast. He's going to talk to us about the Montreal Canadiens press conference and what the players have to say in the room. And in the meantime, we're going to go to Pierre, McGuire, and Maxim Lapierre. It is your number 1 Habs post-game show in the world. It's the Sick Podcast. I'm Marinaro.
It's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk facts.
We're giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Playing on the car ride, play it when you lounge. X and O, you know that we can hold it down. Shout out to my man Sammy, got it off the ground. And to all the listeners tuned in right now, got debates, analysis, and speculation. This is sports talk for the new generation. You know where to find us, got a reputation. Sick Podcast, your number 1 sports destination.
Giving all our devotion, riding high on this wave of emotion. Going all out, yeah, cause this is our time. No, ain't no stopping us till we reach the finish line. All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick. On fire, we're ready to fight. We'll bring the house down tonight. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
S-I-C-K, it's the sickest podcast. Tune in for the audio, or you can even watch back. Giving players all the props, or put them on blast. We don't give no hot takes, only talk back. S-I-C-K, 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 S-I-C-K.
All in, we came here to win. We're gonna give everything. S-I-C-K on the run. S-I-C-K, sick.
Turn up your volume. Because you're about to listen to The Sick Podcast. With Tony Marinaro.
55 seconds left in the penalty, a minute and 27 seconds left in regulation time. Boston 4, Montreal 3. Lafleur coming out rather gingerly on the right side. He gives it into Lemaire, back to Lafleur.
The sickest Montreal Canadiens podcast.
You're in the fall!
Sports entertainment like no other.
Rejoint, on lui fait perdre la rondelle, une passe devant. Et c'est le dégagement, et ce sera la victoire des Canadiens. Coupe Stanley pour les Canadiens. Le 23e de l'histoire.
You found the dogs! John, you found the dogs! He found the dogs! And all together, they worked a young team to the top. And now, a 24th Stanley Cup banner will hang from the rafters of the famous Forum in Montreal. The Canadiens win the Stanley Cup.
Brought to you by Energy Transportation Group. Driven to be different. Tibi. Embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination. It's gonna be sick.
Marinaro, what a hockey game tonight. I was screaming in my own home. I don't even know why. Ivan Demidov is going to make me buy season tickets, and I can't even go to the games because I work the Sick Podcast at 10 p.m. at night. I tweeted that about 15 or 20 minutes ago or half an hour ago, whenever it was, after he scored that incredible goal. But I kind of felt it coming. I don't know about you, because Demidov was feeling it tonight, boy. He was really feeling it tonight. And what a hockey game that had almost everything. An amazing tribute to the late Ken Dryden. Some player intros where they got to choose their own music that I just thought was absolutely fantastic. I love that the Montreal Canadiens outdo themselves every year. Nobody does it like Montreal. And a hockey game, once again, that had 9 goals in this hockey game. When the Montreal Canadiens played the Seattle Kraken last year in late October, the hockey game had 10 goals. But the bad news is that 8 of them were courtesy of the Seattle Kraken. Tonight, the Montreal Canadiens get their redemption on the Kraken. They beat them by a score of 5-4 in overtime. I would imagine that everyone that was at that hockey game absolutely loved it. And I'll probably even include our good buddy Mitch Garber, who's one of the co-owners of the minority owners of the Seattle Kraken, who was there in attendance with his family. It was that good of a hockey game. It had everything. There was a ton of emotion in the building, so much so that I can feel it from my house. The Canadiens win by a score of 5-4 in overtime on Cole Caufield's second goal. And what a goal it was. It wasn't the only beauty of a goal in tonight's hockey game. A game that also had its share of mistakes and learning moments in the hockey game for both teams. We're going to discuss it with a couple of individuals, Pierre McGuire and Maxim Lapierre. We'll get to Max first.
Maxim Lapierre, presented by Air Pura. Breathe cleaner air.
Maxim Lapierre really is a breath of fresh air. Who needs an air purifier? If you deal with allergies, asthma, pet smoke, poor ventilation, or even just city pollution, you'll notice the difference right away. That's why I recommend Air Pura. I can tell you that I have them in my home. I can tell you that Agnello has them in his home, and they're built right here in Quebec since 2004. What a great company our buddy Helder runs, using the same hospital-grade HEPA filters, carbon filters, UV lights, and even space exploration technology. Check them out. Air Pura, air purifiers. Tell Helder that Tony sent you. Max, how are you?
Hello, Tony.
What a game, Max. What a game.
Finally, we have talent in Montreal, and it's so wonderful to watch the games. You know it's not over until it's over. You never know who's going to score a big goal, and finally, I'm so happy, Tony. We can believe. We believe. This is what Ted Lasso would say anyway.
Yes, we definitely did. And, you know, a lot of people call Demidov demigod.
Yeah.
And it would be fitting because Maxim Lapierre, his text message to me on WhatsApp the second that Demidov scored was Jesus Christ. All right. And I'm not kidding. So there you have it. Can you see it? All right.
Don't show the pictures I showed you earlier, though.
I'm not going to show you the text you sent me earlier, but it says, thanks for the link. And then it says Jesus Christ. And I said, wow. And wow, it was. Speaking of wow, one guy who's got a wow factor is not only Ivan Demidov, it's also Pierre McGuire.
The McGuire Report. Presented by Vago Italian.
Air Pura brings you Max Lapierre. Vago Italien brings you Pierre McGuire. Open 23 years, longevity. Not many restaurants open that long. private dining rooms for any occasion, birthday engagements, corporate meetings, plenty of free parking after 6, open Monday to Saturday evenings, and lunch Tuesday to Friday. Fresh quality ingredients, old world Italian classics, and new Italian. Come see Tommaso, the most popular man in Westmount, at the front of the house, and his partner Angelo at the back of the house, and waiter Nick as well. What an amazing place Restaurant Vago is. I can tell you that it is a favorite among NHL players. That I can tell you. A lot of athletes that come from out of town, when they visit Montreal, they'll go to Restaurant Vago. Pierre McGuire, Max Lapierre said to me moments ago, we finally have talent in Montreal. And Pierre, there's not a bit of it. There's a lot of it.
There is, and it's not just on the ice. It's away from the ice, too. You guys talk about the celebration. That made me almost cry. As being a Montreal guy and cheering for that team growing up, that was a thing of beauty, especially the Ken Dryden salute and all the veteran players being on the bench. That was outstandingly well done. But there's also a thing in the National Hockey League where a coaching staff has to make a difference between 10 and 20 games, point-wise, okay? So 10 to 20 points, I should say. Tonight, the timeout in overtime. Think about it for 1 second. How many coaches would just keep the timeout and Ivan Hughes say, don't worry about it. Calls a timeout, loosens his guys up. Guys go to work, win the faceoff. Hutson goes to work, cross and drop to Caufield. Caufield goes high short side. This is a thing of beauty. So it's not just the talent on the ice. There's talent off the ice. This thing is set to last for a long time. And I'm so excited for the fans in the city of Montreal.
Max Pierre McGuire says loosens his guys up. Marty St. Louis was smiling and laughing with his players during the timeout. Hey, it was amazing.
That's great. And you know what, Pierre? I'm watching everything unfold right now. I feel like Marty St. Louis is going to be here for a long, long time. I feel like he's Mr. Cooper in Tampa Bay. Like he's growing with the team. Everybody respects him, and they're like, how many guys in the NHL as a player can you connect with the way you can connect with Marty St. Louis? Was a fourth liner, was a guy on waivers, he's a Hall of Famer, won Stanley Cup, was in the stands as a healthy scratch. Like, he connects with everyone on the team. Not every coach has that luxury.
For me, he's one of few coaches that seems like one of the boys. And I know he retired some time ago, but he's almost like their big brother type of thing. They look up to him. They obviously respect the career a lot. Rod Brindamore kind of gives me that feeling too, that the team has kind of embraced him as one of the boys. Marty, with all due respect to Rod, though, Marty's got this whole little coolness to him that, you know what? And the opening ceremony again, the introduction, and once again, Pierre McGuire, you're so right. Congratulations to the entire Montreal Canadiens organization. We saw on the show The Rebuild on Crave Television that a season ticket holder actually went up to Jeff Molson a couple of years ago and said, Jeff, your opening ceremony is absolutely terrible. One of the worst things I ever saw in my life type of thing. Jeff Molson was in shock. He couldn't believe that actually somebody went up to him and told him something like that. I would hope that no one told that to Jeff Molson tonight, because personally, and I know it's all a matter of personal opinion, I thought every single touch the Canadiens had was absolutely fantastic. I loved it, making them come out with their own music. Ken Dryden's former teammates there, the mask on the net. My God, nobody does it like Montreal. And this is why unrestricted free agents have to come play here. Forget about the taxes for a second. They have to come because nobody does it like Montreal.
There's only one problem with your theory. There's so much good young talent here, there may not be any room for unrestricted.
No need for that.
There's always room for a second-line center in Pierre McGuire. Don't get me started.
True. Very true.
Max, Pierre talked about the timeout by Marty St. Louis, and he's right. And Cole Caufield kind of downplayed it a little bit at the end of the game. Well, Mark Denis on RDS when he said, you know what? He didn't have to say much. We just needed a breather. But you know what? That's a good sign of a coach, too, recognizing when his team needs a breather. And up until that point, the Canadiens never really had possession of the puck up until the offensive zone faceoff. But what a job by Nick Suzuki, who wins that faceoff. And guys, the way Lane Hutson was dipsy-doodling and the way he dazzled on that pass that he got from Nick Suzuki, in the last 3 games, Lane Hutson would have fumbled the puck. Now, with all the distractions away from him, he signed that 8-year contract at $8.85 million per year, $55 million of which is going to be in a signing bonus over the next 7 years after this year. He was happy. He felt liberated. Lane Hutson was feeling it tonight. He wasn't the best Montreal Canadian player because Demidov was really good and Cole Caufield was really good, but I liked Lane Hutson's game tonight. I thought it was his best game of the 4 thus far this season.
He played well. The one thing with him, he competes every night. Doesn't matter if he plays well or he doesn't play well. Tonight, I think he was really good with the puck. And you're right. Like we have to say it. He looked like he was relieved, like he was happy. Like it's a lot of pressure, guys. Like when you're negotiating a contract and you're hoping not to get hurt, you're hoping to have the stats. Now it's out of the way. We have all our core players signed for a long time. We're gonna have a good team for a long time. And I'm happy for the kid because he works hard. You know, there's some players like you don't really care if they sign or not, but when you see a guy spending about 8 hours a day on the ice and working on his stuff, you hope that it's going to go well for him.
Pierre, once again, why don't we get to the lines for tonight's hockey game? I think everyone knows them by now, but I want to touch on something with you if I can. So there you have the lines. And speaking of lines, you go all the way with Betway. You get a deposit matchup bonus up to $300 on your first deposit. Who's going to win between the Canadiens and the Nashville Predators on Thursday night? Well, you can get it on the action, scan the QR code on the screen, or click on the link in the details section to create an account, redeem your welcome offer. Offers only available for new customers. Terms and conditions apply. Offers not available in Ontario. Must be 18 years of age and older. Please play responsibly. Suzuki was in between Slavkovsky and Caufield. Doc had Gallagher on his right wing and Bolduc on his left wing. Kapanen with Demidov and Newhook. Evans with Liney and Anderson. On defense, Matheson with Dobson, Gooley with Hutson, Jackai and Carrier, and Samuel Montembeault. Pierre, once again, we know the lines by now because you know what? All these players have played every game thus far this season. It's the fourth game. Are you surprised that when I say all the players, mind you, Dobish played a game, that Marty St. Louis, after winning 2 games out of 3, goes with the exact same lineup, goes with the exact same players?
No, he's comfortable with what his lineup is right now. And, one of the guys that's really producing that you would have thought might have got a little rest, but he's producing unbelievably well. And look at some of the big plays tonight is Brendan Gallagher. Brendan Gallagher, you need in this game tonight, because Seattle played a real solid defensive game, you needed to have a sledgehammer kind of mentality right from the start of the game. Brendan Gallagher brought a sledgehammer to the party, and it made a huge difference. Whether it's on Demidov's goal, whether it's on forecheck situations, setting up screens and power plays, running over guys in the neutral zone. Brendan Gallagher, unsung hero in this game tonight. Major unsung hero.
Max Lapierre, the last time you joined us, you said, take a look at Gallagher. Take a look at the way he's got Bolduc going. Take a look at what he did last year for Dvorak and Josh Anderson. Take a look at what he did before that with Thomas Tatar and with Phil Deneau. And you said, every line that Gallagher plays on, that line does well. I said it's rare that a winger actually is the straw that stirs the drink, but Brendan Gallagher is that. And once again, Pierre McGuire is right. He was in on the traffic. You talked about Lane Hutson. He always works. Brendan Gallagher always works, Max.
100%, and that's so good for the young guys. Like you look at Marty St. Louis as a coach in his career. You look at Brendan Gallagher, the way he's playing, and then you have young guys like Hutson, Demidov. They're coming in. They have no choice because it's not an excuse anymore to say, "Well, I'm a smaller player. I don't need to play that physical game." They both did, and they both really well respected around the NHL, and that's going to have a major impact. Like we've been talking about Gallagher for a few years now. Let's not forget that he made a big step. He adjusts, he trained differently, he's faster on the ice, he changed his game as well. Like he doesn't go in front of the net and get cross-check in the face every single time, destroying his body for no reason. Now he goes when it's time to go, and he plays with the puck when it's time to play with the puck. You got to give him credit. This guy improved, and it's not easy to improve when you're a veteran player.
Pierre, first period, Demidov down the left wing. He cuts back, a great pass to Alex Newhook going to the net, who redirects it. Demidov has shown flashes, Pierre, in the first 3 games before tonight. Tonight, I think he put it all together. I think Ivan Demidov played a heck of a hockey game, Pierre.
He wanted to make a difference in this game tonight, right from the start. He wanted the puck. He wanted to drive in their defense. He wanted to try to take the puck, whether it's on his strong side or his weak side, to the net. Obviously, the tying goal is a thing of beauty. The urgency earlier in that shift, you could sense it. And Tony, I think you touched on it before I came on when you were talking to Max. You could just sense the Canes were going to score in that sequence just because of the urgency the player had to want the puck on his stick and to make a difference.
Guys,
there's no play there if it's not superstar type of players.
100%.
Just think about the pass from Demidov on that goal. Like, it's a tight turn. Most of players would have lost the puck on that move. Like, he's so skilled. He sees the play right away. It's a hard pass. Same thing with Hutson in overtime. You see the edges and like the tight turns. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Normally, guys would have went wider and around the zone. He cuts everywhere. He's so good. He's so smart. There's no goal on that play. Again, if it's not Hutson.
It's funny, Max
Great
Lapierre. I
shot,
think
though.
you're reading my mind, because when you said we finally have talent in Montreal, and I said a lot of it, I'm trying to think of all the plays tonight where we saw a lot of talent. We saw a lot of talent on Ivan Demidov's pass to Alex Newhook. We saw a lot of talent on Ivan Demidov's goal, where he had the poise, the calm, the composure, the take it to his backhand, and they'll go up and over Joey Decord with 2 minutes and 41 seconds left in regulation. We saw the talent from Cole Caufield, who did what he does best. Snipe 2 wrist shots up and over Joey Decord. It was 2 unbelievable wrist shots. We saw Lane Hutson with the dipsy doodle and the dazzling. Pierre McGuire, how many plays of talent did we see in tonight's game? Now I know why Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton wanted to renew for 5 years, which, by the way, gentlemen, is something that happened earlier today. We'll show it. The Montreal Canadiens made us aware. Elliot Friedman had tipped us off that things were heating up in their contracts. Pierre McGuire, Jeff Molson signs Jeff Gorton and Kent Hughes to 5-year contract extensions each. They're both in the final year of their contract, so there's this year and 5 more years after that. Pierre McGuire, I say they deserve it.
100%. I was texting with Jeff earlier today and just congratulating him. I'm so happy for him, for his family, for the Canadiens fans. He never should have been fired in New York. Terrible mistake by the New York Rangers, but the Montreal Canadiens were wise enough to bring him in. They didn't worry about anything else except hockey. Brilliant hire. And you know what? They're a tremendous tandem. They deserve a lot of credit. A lot of credit.
Speaking of the New York Rangers, shut out 3 straight games at home. Not a good start for Mike Sullivan and the troops, but Pierre McGuire, we talked about it. They thought they got rid of what was the problem on that hockey team, but I don't think they solved the problem, because there's a problem there either in the culture and the chain of command. I don't know what it is, but it's deep rooted, and they better get down to the bottom of it, or they're going to miss the playoffs again, Pierre.
No, I agree. And Maxie, I just want to throw this. I've been telling Tony this for a while. They were one team that had to do a lot of heavy lifting this summer. I don't think they did enough of it, and you're seeing it play out now on the ice. They've been shut out 3 times, as Tony said, on home ice this season. Once by the Pittsburgh Penguins, once by the Washington Capitals, and now tonight by the Edmonton Oilers, starting a long Eastern trip. That can't happen.
No.
That can't happen. If you're a good team, you're not getting shut out on home ice. There's an issue there.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. They don't compete the right way, and for sure something happened. You remember last year the noise we were hearing about all the veterans leaving and all that. There's an issue in there, so they need to fix it.
And you know what? Speaking of talent, we talked about it before, guys. How about Cole Caufield once again with 2 goals, 2 snipes? And he was asked about his shot at the end of the game. Let's hear from Cole Caufield. Do we have it?
You work on all those things in practice in the summers, and but nothing compares to a game. I think it's obviously happened so fast that you got to trust yourself, trust your instincts, and execute. I think sometimes you get those bounces, sometimes that maybe goes in the netting. So you gotta take what you can and just keep shooting.
The clips from the locker room, by the way, sent courtesy of Brian Wilde from Global TV Montreal. Brian will join us after Marty St. Louis' press conference. He's there right now. It's a different twist. It's an added twist that we decided to bring to you on, of course, this sick podcast, Habs post-game show. Mike Matheson, gentlemen, led all Montreal Canadiens players on ice with 25 minutes and 19 seconds, a little bit more than Lane Hutson's 23:45 and more than Noah Dobson's 23:08. Those were the 3 players who had the most ice time for the Canadiens. But once again, it's Mike Matheson who not only had more ice than any Montreal Canadian player, he had more ice than any player in tonight's hockey game, period. He talked about his 25 minutes and 19 seconds. Let's hear from Mike Matheson.
I'm not too sure. I mean, I think tonight I played over 25 still, and so I think there's kind of been a lot of questions being asked, like, what do you think your role is going to be? And at the end of the day, I don't know that it's changed a whole lot. Like, sure, I was on the second unit last year, but how much time does the second unit really get? And quite often after the power play, I'm the first one out there because the other team's sending out their top line. And so in terms of ice time, I don't think it's something to really worry about and put too much thought into. Like I said, I think it's just a game-by-game basis to keep trying to get better.
Pierre McGuire, Mike Matheson, cool as a cucumber. Your thoughts on his answer, Pierre?
It's tremendous, number one. But number two, the key part of that stat line that you showed, 3 seconds on the power play. I've been saying this for a long time. You take away his power play minutes, he is going to thrive in the role they're creating for him. And he's spot on. I've changed the defense in a lot of big games for a real good team. And when you're coming out of a power play, the other team's coming with their top line. And so you need to know that, and that's where his value comes. If you can stabilize a game after a failed power play, when the other team's top line comes out, you're in real good shape. And Mike's been tremendous. But that's the key part of that stat line. 3 seconds of power play time for him tonight out of the 25 minutes. So you know he's focused in on his role.
Guys, Max, speaking of Mike Matheson, of course, he's the defense partner for Noah Dobson. And I saw earlier today on Hockey Stat Cards on Application X, top defensive players per the net rating metric. And Noah Dobson had the 8th highest grade after 3 hockey games at 1.1, ahead of him, Jake Sanderson, Cale Makar, Ivan Provorov, Drew Doughty, Will Borgen, Wyatt Kaiser, and Brand Clark. So Noah Dobson's game a little bit underrated because the defensive metrics show that he has played pretty well 3 games in. And Noah Dobson earlier tonight talked about his partnership with Mike Matheson. Let's hear him.
Last year or last spring. He's such a great player, great skater. I feel like we really, game to game, we're really building that chemistry and know where each other are on the ice. It's been great so far.
And there you have it. All right, guys, I want to thank one of our sponsors, Playground. Hungry for a deal? Eat well at Playground without breaking the bank. Monday, sink your teeth into a juicy 12-ounce ribeye steak with all the fixings for just $19. Tuesdays, dive into an all-you-can-eat Asian experience for only $25. Wednesdays, savor a 6-ounce bacon wrap filet mignon with dessert for just $30. Thursdays, lobster surf and turf, only $22. And Fridays at lunch, get any sandwich, burger, pizza, or main for just $7. It's delicious. It's outrageous. Visit playground.ca for details. Also, a shout-out to Bittt, Tibi. They launched their Ultra Lager, refreshing, thirst-quenching beer, perfect for those cool fall days with only 90 calories, 2 grams of carbs, 4% ABV per can, available in a pack of 6 and 12 in grocery stores all around the province of Quebec. Ultra light, ultra refreshing. Shane Gaumont and Master Control. Let's bring up the score sheet if we can. Want to see the goals here. All right, guys. So after Alex Newhook puts the Canadiens up by a score of 1-0, Max Lapierre, Jaden Schwartz ties it at 1 on the power play. 3:33 into period number 2. And Mike Matheson's in the box. Kapanen, Newhook, Dobson, and Jack-I are on the penalty kill. I saw something. I'm wondering if you saw the same thing. What did you think of Schwartz's power play goal, Max?
Well, there's many things there. I know the PK has been doing well in the last few years, but I don't like when they're so passive and clogging the middle of the ice.
That's what I saw.
I like cutting the passes to the point, and I don't know, Pierre, how you used to play it, but for me, any passes that goes in the first half of the blue paint belongs to the goalie. So I think it was Montembeault's job to cut that pass.
Oh, I'm with you 100%, Monami. The other part is they're playing a diamond. If you look at most of the penalty killing schemes in the National Hockey League right now, it's a copycat league. A lot of teams are playing the diamond. Ottawa was doing it in their first 2 games. They were shorthanded 8 times. They gave up 5 goals. It's too passive.
Yeah.
I know what they're trying to do. I get it. I respect it. Keep things to the outside, clog the middle, block shots, all that. But it leaves you open for that down low play, cross crease. And to Max's point, Tony, if you don't have a goaltender who's got an active stick, that cross crease pass is going to beat you every single time.
So, Pierre, this might be technical for some, but I know that you can simplify it better than anyone else. You talked about them playing a diamond. Jack-I, Dobson, Kapanen, and Newhook. When they played the diamond, Kapanen was up high. Jack-I was almost as high as he was. Instead of being back with Dobson, Newhook wasn't quite back all that much because of the diamond, and the only guy back was Dobson, like you talked about. When the puck goes from Dunn to right and his cross-ice pass to Jaden Schwartz, Max Lapierre says Montembeault has to be able to cut that pass. But Tell me, Pierre, why they don't go back to a traditional box where Xhekaj and Dobson would be back. Both would have their side, one on the left, one on the right, and Kapanen would have the left, and Newhook would have the right. Why don't they go back to a box and an aggressive box at that? And why are they playing the diamond?
Because of the bumper. Ever since the Boston Bruins implemented the bumper with Patrice Bergeron, everybody's tried to find a way to defend against the bumper player because he can shoot, he can pass, he can make better shooting avenues. So if you look at that part of the tape, Max will appreciate this because he was such a good penalty killer. Arbor comes up to take away the bumper. And when Arbor does that, he gets caught up high, and the quick puck movement from the point down to the icing line is where, to Shane Wright, is where Arbor doesn't react quick enough. The only other thing I would say is, and Dobson will probably learn this in tape study, he can sell out and go across the ice with his body rather than just trying to play it with his stick. But again, it's a copycat league, and a lot of teams are playing the Diamond League. I'm not a believer in it, but I also know the Canadiens have had some success with it.
Max, you talked about Samuel Montembeault, but Pierre McGuire just explaining why the Canadiens set up in the diamond because of the bumper. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I you know what? Like, I'm looking at it. For me, it depends how you put the pressure at the beginning of the shift, but it ended up that way. But now I think they're going to see it as a weakness in the next few games because the teams, they know now. Like, they're going to set up two guys on the goal line each side, and they're going to have to adjust. It's that simple. But on that play, is just they got to put pressure on the goal line right away. You need Kapanen, or is it Xhekaj? You need Kapanen to take, or Dobson to take the back door, and Xhekaj to take the bumper. The only thing, though, it's, I don't know if you guys notice, and Pierre, you probably noticed, but it happens often that there's a forward playing D or a D being a forward because they just rotate and they don't really care if it's a D being down low. For me, it's not natural for a forward to play below the dots. It's not a normal reaction, and I don't like it.
I don't like it either. We're on the same. We are so on the same page. I always believed in pressure. You know, one of the best people will laugh, but one of the best penalty killing teams I ever saw were the Adirondack Red Wings when Barry Melrose coached there before he took the LA Kings job. And I'm telling you right now, they were amazingly aggressive in all three zones. It was unbelievable. They were so good at doing it. And it was all about pressure. All about pressure.
I'm going to show you a picture, Tony.
Yeah.
Okay. See on that player.
See the bumper? That's
the
what
bumper
I'm talking about.
But the guy closest to the bumper is Xhekaj. He's a D. He's a demon acting as a forward. He's not supposed to be there. Or maybe he is supposed, but I don't like it.
That's why I talked about going back to the square.
Yep. And that's why I told you what I told you. That's why you're hung out on the backside pole. And it's too hard to read for that forward. And Maxi knows as a forward, that's a long way to go for that forward that's got to cut off the weak side. It's way too far.
We're going to go back to the score sheet, but before we do, the Sick Podcast is brought to you in part by Energy Transportation Group, a leading asset-light 3PL that's driven to be different from cross-border freight between Canada, USA, and Mexico to coast shipping in both Canada and the United States. Energy moves it all. They're fast, reliable, and powered by tech that delivers smarter logistics. If you need a real partner in transportation, contact the team at sick@shipenergy.com and see how Energy Transportation Group is changing the freight game. Back to the score sheet, if we can bring it up. Shane Gaumont, thank you very much. Guys, Cole Caufield gives the Montreal Canadiens a 2-1 lead, 7-12 into period number 2. This is the way I saw it. Suzuki in on the forecheck, Slavkovsky as well. Chandler Stevenson tries to clear it. Unfortunately, because of the pressure for him, he's unable to clear it to a good player. He ends up clearing it right on the stick of Cole Caufield in the slot, whose short side is able to go up and over Joey Decord. Pierre McGuire, the first one as well as the second one, Cole Caufield. Those are goal scorers' goals.
And it's the release point on the shot. If it's a little bit slower, I don't think it gets in. His release point is so quick right now. It's phenomenal, and he's feeling it. You know, I think he could be a 40 to 45 goal scorer this year, without a doubt. If he stays healthy, there's no question in my mind.
I predicted 40. Max, speaking of goal scorers, I got to ask you something. Is it me, or is Patrick Liney's shot either off or a little bit predictable thus far early on in the season? Now, up until tonight's game, he only had 4 shots on goal. The Canadiens tried to find them on the power play tonight so he can deliver that shot. He had 2 shots that made their way on net. He had 1 attempt blocked and 1 missed shot. Is it me, or there's a little something missing from Liney's shot, Max?
Well, there's two different things. First of all, the pass comes from a righty instead of a lefty. It's a little different. Last year was Hutson passing to him. Now it's Dobson. The pass doesn't come from the same angle. It might seem like a little detail, but it is maybe the pass goes to his left skate instead of his right skate. It's a different way to shoot the puck, or it comes from Demidov, who is a lefty, and last year was Suzuki as a righty. So it's just about adjustment right now.
Didn't he score most of his goals, Pierre McGuire, actually being fed by righties in his career?
He did, but the biggest thing with him right now is it's almost like the body language on the power play is bad. And I didn't like, there was one time he fanned on the puck and he's like, I can't believe I just did that.
Yeah.
He can't be worried about that. He's got to just start getting back to his game. He really does. And maybe he's mad because he's on the fourth line. So if you're that upset about it, do something that you get off the fourth line.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of bad guys, the line of Evans, Anderson, and Gallagher, who was on the ice because Patrick Liney changed up with Gallagher, were stuck in their D zone in period number 2. Carrier's pass to Jack-Eye jumps over his stick. Puck ends up back at the point to Jamie Oleksiak, who finds Gaudreau behind the net, who leaves it for Cartier, who spins. Carrier and Jack-Eye kind of get in each other's way. Jack-Eye lifts Gaudreau's stick in front of the net, but Cartier's shot, I think, goes off of Carrier and then off of Newman and into the goal. They tie it at 2. Pierre, that's a line that had some trouble in their defensive zone tonight.
They did. There's no question about it. It's something that's got to be better. I think they know that. Jake was good on faceoffs and shorthand situations most of the night. I don't know what his numbers were for all of them, but shorthanded, he did some real good stuff with faceoffs. But yeah, the line was. I don't know what Josh Anderson's time on ice was, but I didn't notice him very much tonight.
13 minutes, 13:26.
Yeah, I didn't notice him very much. I don't know if you did, Maxie, but I didn't notice him very much.
Josh Anderson, pardon me, 14:09 if I can. Josh Anderson, 14:09.
I can relate. I can relate because I was that type of player. Like it was all about structure and hard work for me. And when you play with a guy that is unpredictable like Liney, it's tough, guys. Like it's tough because you're trying to position yourself off reads, and there's no read on that player. Like I don't.
That's fair. That's very fair.
I don't think he's playing that bad this year compared to last year, but I mean, it definitely doesn't help that line.
Guys, Montembeault would probably want to have 1 or 2 back, but he made a huge stop late in period number 2. Doc and Bolduc were stuck on the ice for 2 minutes and 8 seconds. There was a bang-bang play that went to Tolvanen, and Montembeault shut the door. I thought that was a huge stop for him because the Montreal Canadiens at period number 3 ended up taking a 3-2 lead after. Matheson to Dobson, blue line to blue line, guys, takes a wrist shot off of Kirby Doc's left skate. 3-2 Montreal. Guys, not the prettiest goal that Kirby Doc scored, but he took his big body and he went to the net, Max Lapierre.
Yeah, I like to see that. And you know what? He played well tonight, I think. Like he's getting better every game. I think if we expect him to be like an 80-point guy on the second line, that won't happen. Not now anyways. But if he goes to the net and if he's a presence in front of the net, if he can play like Slav, we expect him to be a playmaker. Why not play the way Slav plays, right? He's hard on the forecheck, goes at the net. That's it. I think that's good for him. One step at a time.
16 cents that he's always going to show more confidence, Pierre. He's starting to see, you know what? Doc's coming along. Let me give him more.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. But I also think they got a right winger on that line that's pretty good too. And that Demidov kid's going to be real special. We all know that. And I think if Kirby's smart, he'll play in tandem with him and grow his game because of it. And, to Max's point about knowing what guys are going to do, you know what Demidov's going to do. He's going to dominate the puck. He's going to win races with the puck. You got to find a way to get open because he'll find you. So I love what Max said about Laine. He's unpredictable. Demidov's not unpredictable. He's very predictable.
Yeah.
Guys, what do you make of Seattle tying it up at 3? McCann to Mahura to Oleksiak from the blue line, a wrist shot that went through traffic. Gooley was in the way. It looked like Eberle and Hutson were in the way as well. Upstairs, glove side, 3-3. What did you think, Max, on that goal given up by the Canadiens and Samuel Montembeault?
I don't like that goal. There was a lot of traffic, but I think there was a part during the game where the Canadians were just taking risks. They were just playing a little sloppy, and it cost them. Like we're still learning, guys. We're a young team, and at one point I was like, what are they doing? Just put the puck deep and accept that it is a tight game and it's gonna probably go in overtime again, because Seattle plays well, guys. There's not much room on the ice, and I think they were not patient in their game, and they could be a little tougher in front of the net. They could be a little tougher along the walls, and, well, they paid for it.
You know what it reminded me of? Sorry about that, Tony. I was just going to say it reminded me a lot of watching Nashville and Ottawa yesterday. Two similarities. Barry Trotz, a GM in Nashville. Andrew Burnett played for him in the American League and the NHL. And then you watch the coach today, Lane Lambert. Worked with him in Nashville, worked with him in Washington, worked with him with the Islanders. That reminded me of Barry Trotz hockey. That's hard to play against. It's really hard to play against.
Guys, speaking of coaches, I don't think Marty St. Louis or Stéphane Robida are going to be too crazy about Arbor Jack guys trying to stretch past the Ivan Demidov. It's off the mark. There's an icing, leads to a defensive zone face-off draw. The Kapanen loses it clean to Berniers, goes to Montour to Lindgren. His shot goes off McCann. He spins in turn. Arbor Jack guy can't tie him up. It kind of reminded me, guys, of the goal that Yarncroc scored with Toronto that hit Yarncroc right in front, and Jack guy was down and he was unable to block it, and it beat Montembeault. It's the same kind of goal, I think, 4-3 for Seattle. And late in the hockey game, Marchment takes a hooking penalty on Carrier. The Habs go on the power play. Gallagher to Demidov to Liney, back to Demidov in the slot from forehand to backhand. Max Lapierre once again. You text me immediately after Demidov scored that goal, and your text was, Jesus Christ.
You know what, though? We all know he's got skills and is going to score so many goals that way or pass the puck so many times that way, but his work ethic is special. You know, like we have two skilled guys that are a new generation, new type of hockey players. You got Hutson, works like a dog every single shift. Same thing with Demidov. Like, sticks in the face, people hitting him. He gets out of the corner. He wants to make, Pierre said it well, he wants to make the difference. And there's two type of players in the league. There's players that want the puck and players that don't want the puck. He wants the puck, and he wants to be the difference. And you can tell every single shift. And he doesn't play with regular second-line players yet. Imagine him with 2 stars. Whew.
Pierre, I know that this is not the comparable, so I'm not going to pretend it to be. I just want to talk about mentality, and I want to talk about dominating in the offensive zone and dominating a shift where he looked untouchable. Ivan Demidov has nowhere near the body type that Jaromir Jagr had. But mind you, Jaromir Jagr's first couple of years in the league, you know, he was not as thick as he was later on in his career. He had a couple of shifts there late in the third period where he just totally took complete control and was a man on the mission. On a mission, he looked like Jagr at some point. It was unbelievable, Pierre.
Yeah, no, you know what, Tony? We didn't rehearse this. I thought there was a sequence, especially before he scored, where he was looking like Jaromir. You know, I skated a lot of hours with Jaromir, just one-on-one, the two of us, and I can tell you, I'm looking at that going, he was such a pain in the behind to try to defend, because you kept pushing on him and pushing on him. You just couldn't push him off the puck. And I saw that with Demidov. So that's a really good comparable by you, and it's something that I thought of today during the game. Absolutely.
We're going to the Bell Center. It's now time for Brian Wilde.
Brian Wilde, presented by Fruiterie Delard. Fresh foods and flavors for over 30 years.
Fruiterie Delard, a family-run business, a mainstay in the LaSalle community since 1995, proud to continue offering the same fresh foods and flavors they have for the past 30 years. From fresh fruits and produce delivered daily to an ever-expanding assortment of deli meats, cheeses, and sandwiches, you'll find personalized service and friendly faces that make you feel like family at Fruiterie Delard. There you have it, Brian Wilde. This reminds me of back in the day when he used to do his hits on television, and he's doing them now on the Sick Podcast, and we're really happy to have you, Brian. Same location. What section is that?
117, just like at CTV for 22 years.
All right. Amazing stuff, Brian. You had a chance. And by the way, we played all the clips that you sent over, and thank you for that. Noah Dobson on his partnership with Matheson. Matheson on having over 25 minutes of ice time, and Cole Caufield on his shot and his release and his 2 goals. But Brian, you also had a chance to go to Marty St. Louis' press conference. And what can you tell us?
Well, Marty was obviously very pleased with the result tonight. Some of the pointed questions that were interesting to me were one of he was asked by Francois Gagnon about what he thought was the big difference between this year's Montreal Canadiens and the Canadiens that he has coached in the past. And he spoke to confidence. That was the first thing that came out of his mouth after he said, question profonde. Like he thought it was a pretty deep question. And I think he waited about 15 seconds before he answered because he wanted to get it right. And he definitely thought that confidence was the key. Not arrogance, he said, but confidence. And you can see it in the way they play. Mike Matheson, especially, was noted by Martin St. Louis as being outstanding. He's been tremendous, is what he said. And you could see that the partnership between Matheson and Dobson is the thing that's making a lot of difference to Martin St. Louis as the head coach right now. He really feels comfortable with all 6 defenders, he said, but especially when Matheson and Dobson are on the ice, he feels really good about at least holding on to the lead, if not gaining more of it.
How was Mike Matheson when you caught up with him? Was he trying to catch some air there, or was he breathing heavy? He looked like he could probably play another game.
Yeah, and the thing was that I found interesting about it, and that's why I sent that clip, because everybody's been talking about his footprint is going to definitely change because he has a first pairing with Dobson, and now that second pairing is a lot deeper as a result. Lane Hutson being so good and partnering with Caden Gooley. So I think everybody, Tony, is kind of thinking that, okay, 32 is going to turn into 25, it's going to turn into 21. But it was interesting. He really feels as if absolutely nothing has changed for him. He feels he's getting the same amount of ice time, and it feels exactly the same as it did last season. And I found that provocative.
Pierre?
Oh, yeah, no, he's getting the same amount of ice time. He's just not getting the power play time, so he doesn't have to stress out mentally. So I agree with you 100%, Brian.
Brian, the vibe in that room, you were there, we weren't. Try to explain it to us.
Very calm, I would say. Like I was going to announce instinctively.
Really,
Yeah, I was going to announce instinctively that obviously they were very excited, but I didn't sense that there was a lot of excitement, just calm, just a kind of a quiet confidence more than anything. I mean, obviously there are smiles on their faces. They won a big game. They were down by 1, and late in the contest, when you win that game in the NHL down by 1, you've really done a lot. It's very hard to win games down by 1 late, and they did pull it off. But that didn't mean it as if they were really feeling dramatic about what they accomplished. And I did see that kind of drama about what they accomplished in last year's team, when maybe they were a little less confident than they have been right now, and maybe they would feel a little bit more ecstatic about what they accomplished. But I felt everybody was really even keeled. I didn't feel as if there was a high level of intensity or excitement about what they accomplished, except maybe Ivan Demidov. Maybe Demidov was a little more excited because he was getting asked, Tony, about the ovation that he gets every time he does something well, because he actually said he got asked about the ovation and how long it lasted, and he made the joke, yeah, I didn't really get it because I really thought there were 2 minutes left in the game and we needed to keep getting that winning goal. So he kind of, I think, was making an attempt at humor, but everybody took his answer kind of seriously.
Talk to me about, I would imagine that Marty St. Louis was asked about Ivan Demidov's performance tonight, had a big assist on the Alex Newell goal, and that goal to tie it up with 2:41 left in regulation. What a thing of calm, beauty, poise to the backhand. You know what? That's a pressure moment goal. You're looking for a goal. You're on the power play. It's he that gets it. What did St. Louis have to say about Demidov's performance tonight? Clearly his best game of the 4 that he's played this season.
Yes, absolutely. What was funny, though, is that question didn't really get asked in a specific sort of manner, but Marc-Antoine Gaudin asked more on a general terms that they really have a lot of difference makers. That the team has the players now that you can stay in a game and they can get that goal, whereas before maybe they couldn't get that goal and get back into the game. So then Martin St. Louis went on about the accumulating difference makers that the team has and how that gives them the opportunity to stay in every game, to be a part of the equation still, even down by 1 or even down by 2. And that's another reason that the group feels confident that they have so many more difference makers accumulating. And that was Martin St. Louis who first said, we have difference makers. So you can hear the confidence coming from him about his group. Before we stop talking about Martin St. Louis, I want to mention one more thing that hasn't been said so far. Is the first question, if maybe not the first, but the second, was about the ovation that he got, because I think the loudest ovation for the entire team was, believe it or not, a head coach, which is just a remarkable thing if you think about it. And it's even more remarkable, Tony, that it's his 4th season and he is that much loved in this building. And he received a standing ovation. I mean, that's crazy for a head coach in his 4th season. And so he just wanted to make the point that he loves the fans as much as they love him. And it's an honor to be a part of this. He grew up, he said, loving the Montreal Canadiens. And to be a part of this is something that he really cherishes. And he wanted to make the point very significantly that he really feels honored by what the fans feel for him and that he loves them just as strongly back.
Guys, I have something that they showed here on television. I've just sent it to Shane Gaumont. We're going to see if he could actually bring it up. But speaking of Marty St. Louis, gentlemen, who will celebrate his 4-year anniversary as head coach of the Montreal Canadiens in the month of February. It's unbelievable, Pierre McGuire, and you would know this better than anyone, having worked in this league as an assistant coach with the Pittsburgh Penguins, as a head coach with the Hartford Whalers, as an advisor, of course, with the Ottawa Senators and all the roles that you had. There's a lot of turnover in this league, and Shane Gaumont and Master Control, I sent you something. If there's any way that you can bring it up, I'm not so sure if you can or you got it already, but if you did, there you have it. Marty St. Louis is the 5th most senior coach in the National Hockey
my goodness.
League. It's going to be 4 years in February, but look at that. Andre Tourigny, Rod Brindamore, Jared Bednar, and John Cooper are ahead of Marty St. Louis. So Cooper is the one that has the most longevity, hired by Tampa Bay in March of 2013. Bednar hired by Colorado in August of 2016. Brindamore by Carolina in May of 2018. Tourigny by Utah in July of 2021. And Marty St. Louis in February of 2022, the 5th most senior coach in the National Hockey League, Brian Wilde.
I would have never guessed that, Tony. Not in a million years. I can scarcely believe it even looking at it now. 5th already. The turnover of coaches is wild.
Brian, your contribution has been huge, and I want to let everyone know that you are going to be a regular when the Montreal Canadiens play home games on Tuesdays or on Thursday nights. You're going to join us to give us exactly what you gave us tonight. Send over some clips any weeknight, of course. Yeah. And you're also going to be joining me a couple of times for sure per month as a guest on the Sick Podcast. I thank you very much for that. In ending, I'll ask you one question. Brian Wilde, would you make any lineup changes next game versus the Nashville Predators?
You know, I've been kind of thinking about Doc, what his role has been, and I thought this was his best game. And sometimes I feel as if Demidov needs somebody that passes to him better, but I don't want to second guess this head coach. He's pushing so many right buttons, man.
Thank you so much, Brian Wilde.
Right.
I appreciate it. Well,
Cheers.
there was some plays, guys, without the puck that I would imagine that Marty St. Louis and the coaching staff were probably pulling out their hair. And I wasn't pulling out mine, but I will tell you, if I can get the plug in here, that I noticed that I do have some thinning hair, guys. So I want to show you and introduce to you the laser cap. All right, okay? It's the strongest laser.
Stop using it in your pants, Tony. Use it on your head, please.
No, I use it on my head. And, you know, if the Canadiens are losing some hair after some defensive zone giveaways, the strongest laser therapy treatment for hair regrowth on the market, at least 255% stronger than other popular devices on the market. There's no drugs or chemicals involved whatsoever. It's FDA cleared. It's backed by science and medical research. It's got a lifetime warranty. It's got a year satisfaction guarantee. And all you got to do is wear it for about 30 minutes per day. Once you charge it, once you put in the plug, all of these laser red light therapy, they call it, light up, and it does an amazing job. Check out lasercap.com for all this information.
Pierre, anything to say, Pierre?
I never tried it.
I'd be willing to bet that you didn't. Like you would be willing to bet that I never tried Weight Watchers either. All right, we thank Laser Cap for that. Max Lapierre, we're getting a good laugh here.
Pierre was watching you, was looking at you like.
Pierre was like, why did we have a podcast like this 10 years ago and you could have told me about the Laser Cap?
Oh.
Pierre, I'm going to ask you the same question I asked Brian Wilde. Would you make any changes to your lineup? Let's keep in mind here now, it's 4 games. It's the same players that have played all the time. Jaden Struble and Joe Veleno have not been able to get in the lineup. Do you think that Marty St. Louis is going to give it a lot of consideration going into next game?
No, I don't know. I'll talk to his coaches and I'll see if there are any bumps and bruises that need to get healed up. The only one I'd think about, and I'd only think about, I wouldn't
Struble
do it
for Jack Guy?
I would put Struble in for Jack Guy.
I thought about it there. Yeah.
That's the one I'd think about. I'm not sure I'd do anything at the forward position right now.
Max?
I'm the type of guy that doesn't change a winning lineup. Doesn't matter all the guys are playing. I'm superstitious a little bit more than maybe coaches or management. But if we want him to improve and if we really want to know what Jack Guy is going to bring to the organization, we need to give him games. We need to see it and to have confirmation of can he play in that role or can he not play in that role. And I'm probably
they need to give Struble games too, though, Max.
Yeah, but Tony, again, like it's not a daycare. Like it's not about like they sat Pizzetta for 6 months last year. It's not about feelings and it's about winning.
One thing I want to throw by you, Max, the reason why I would do it this way is Nashville's coming in. They're a non-conference, non-division opponent. They don't have a lot of artillery. The New York Rangers are coming here on Saturday night to Montreal.
Yeah.
They have Rempe and they have Enstrom. And that's why I want Arbor dressed. I don't want to worry about – I want him ready to focus for Saturday. I'm not worried about Thursday. That's the only reason I would think about that.
I think that's a great point, Pierre McGuire. And once again, I think there were a couple of miscues with Carrier, maybe a couple of missed assignments. I'm not saying that he had a bad game by any means, but he did end up finding himself on the ice for a couple of goals against. And once again, I want to get Struble in there because, I know you brought up Michael Pizzetta, Max, but Michael Pizzetta was limited. And let's be honest, I mean, there wasn't much further to go for his ceiling. I think Jaden Struble has an untapped potential, and I don't want to keep him out of the lineup too long. And like Pierre said, and I love the way he put it, I really want to see Jack Guy on Saturday night versus the New York Rangers. And it would be great for him to have a night off to rest and to really get ready for that game. So, look, I love both your schools of thought. Really, I do. And I think it's something that Marty St. Louis will consider. Guys, why don't we take about 10 quick questions, and then we'll call it a night. Let's do that, all right? Let's take 10 for a 10 p.m. show. Shane Gaumont and Master Control, if you can bring it up. I hope everyone's enjoyed the podcast tonight. I think it's been absolutely magnificent, to be honest with you, in all humility. Sun and Fun Travelers, what is wrong with Suzuki? Not skating with effort? I wouldn't say that, Max.
I think he's in a situation right now where Slav and Caufield are working so hard on the forecheck and on the backtracking that it looks like he's slow, but I think he's just a smart hockey player that is positioning himself well.
I'm going to totally agree with Max Lapierre on that. His hockey sense is off the charts, and he's letting his wingers do the work, and he's doing a lot of the heavy lifting defensively.
Question number 2. Chris Bergeron, Kapanen, is he going to last? Pierre?
I think he will. Here's the biggest thing is who internally is going to take him out right now? Veleno? He might. But right now, I think Kapanen will continue to grow, and I think the coach really appreciates his hockey sense.
I would agree with that. I think he does as well. Third question, we'll go to Max Lapierre. Gary Faber, do you give Dolbesh a game this week? Canadians got Nashville on Thursday. They got the New York Rangers on Saturday.
No, I would probably play him in Calgary on the 22nd next Wednesday.
Next question.
I want just to back Maxie up. I want to win these home games before I get to Calgary. I want to take care of business at home.
Next question goes to Pierre McGuire. Ben Avery, Joshua Roy looks good in Laval. Is he your first call-up? Pierre?
I haven't seen Laval play. They were in Winnipeg last week for their first 2 games, so I saw the box scores. I know he got points, so I can't say whether he'd be my first call-up or not. I thought Florian Jacki had a much better training camp than him, just based on NHL training camp. I thought Florian had a better camp than him.
The Laval Rocket lost 4-1 on Friday night to the Moose in Manitoba. They won on Sunday afternoon by a score of 5-2, led by 2 Joshua Roy goals. And by the way, they're going to play their home opener on Friday night versus the defending champions in Abbotsford. And the Fan Jam is going to get underway at around 3:30 in the afternoon at Place Belle in Laval. And our entire team of the Sick Podcast and Le Sick Podcast will be there because, once again, we are very proud to be the audio voice of Laval Rocket hockey games when they're playing at home at Place Belle in Laval. So they're going to be at home on Friday night versus Abbotsford, and they're going to also face them again on Saturday afternoon. Next question goes to Max Lapierre. Franco says, we're talking about Demidov's offensive game, but have you not noticed the night and day difference in his defensive game and his commitment to defense since we saw him last season? Max?
Yeah, he's engaged. He plays well. He's reading the game better. And obviously, we've talked about it many times. It's not easy to play man-on-man in your defensive coverage, and he's learning slowly. And let's not forget that his line mates are working really hard as well, like Newhook and Kapanen. We talk about Kapanen, and we talked earlier about structure. This guy is easy to read on. He's going to cover for you when you make mistakes.
Speaking of hustle, there was a play where Hutson hustled back to try and get an icing call, it was unbelievable. His hustle was incredible. Next one's for Pierre McGuire. Rod Langway fan club says, assuming there aren't any injuries, is it important to get Joe Veleno in a game this week?
It's not important to get him in a game. It's really important that he do a lot of heavy lifting with Trevor Letowski and the conditioning crew, so he's ready for a game when he does get an opportunity. But I don't think it's important for him to play this week, but he'll need to play on the road next week. Absolutely.
Amazing stuff. All right, okay. Next one is for Max Lapierre. Derek Rendell. What kind of contract will Bolduc be given, long-term or bridge?
Honestly, it's too early for me to judge because I've seen him those many games with Montreal. He played half a year last year, got better after Four Nation. For sure, I want him long term, but I don't know what money. Pierre, maybe you're in the better position.
No, I think that's a really smart answer. Too early to tell, honestly. Too early to tell.
Last question is going to go to Pierre McGuire. Suzuki on pace for 100 points. Will he make it? Richard Gagne. Pierre, he's a player who's had more and more points every single year and had 89 last year. Can Nick Suzuki hit 100 points for the first time a Montreal Canadiens player will do it since Mats Naslund back in 1986?
100%. As long as he stays healthy, he'll get 100 points or more.
Wow.
And you know why? He's got some defensemen behind him that can feed him the puck this year.
Yep,
on every pair.
Matheson, Dobson, Lane Hutson, Caden Gooley's not too shabby either. Guys, I thoroughly enjoyed this podcast tonight. I thought it was really, really strong. Max Lapierre, your guys over at La Poche Bleu Blanc Rouge were doing the same thing en français. And speaking of La Poche Bleu, tomorrow night you will be on live at 8 p.m. on YouTube and all platforms, of course, with a special cast. Who's going to be on the show tomorrow night, Max?
Well, I don't want to say the name, but tomorrow in studio, there's an Italian shoe model. He's coming in live in studio.
Who else is going to be there, Max? Yes, I will be in St. Louis tomorrow.
Gilbert Delorme, Pascal Leclerc, Tony Marinaro. I got Patrice Bergeron coming on the podcast tomorrow, so it should be a lot of fun.
Wow, it's going to be an amazing. Patrice Bergeron, one of my favorite of all time. He was absolutely amazing. 20 years for the Boston Bruins. What a fantastic leader. What a fantastic captain. 3 finals, 1 Stanley Cup, and he won the Frank Selke so many times, I think 6, that they'll probably name it after him one day.
You know what was my sentiment in minor hockey?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, we played AAA hockey. We had a pretty good line, me, Bergeron, and Torrey Mitchell. So it was a good start in tournaments.
Wow. Did you think watching him play, Max, that he was going to go on to be the player that he was?
A leader for sure, but I didn't know he was going to be a Hall of Famer. But his attitude always been very, very special. Very, lots of leadership, really calm, respectful of his teammate at a young age.
Amazing stuff. I love hearing those stories. Amazing. Pierre, how's your son doing?
Good. They're in Charlotte coming up this week. They play Charlotte, the team that went to the Calder Cup final last year. So we'll see about that. All good.
He's with Iowa, correct? The American Hockey League.
He's with Iowa in the American Hockey League. Hey, I just want to give you a quick Patrice Bergeron story to back Maxim Lapierre up. I was in Vegas to present the Coach of the Year award at the NHL Awards one year. And I go to the gym at 4:30 in the morning because I wasn't sleeping really well and the time zone was different and everything else. And I'm down there, and all of a sudden I hear this grunting and groaning, and I look behind me, and it's Bergeron. It's like 4:45 in the morning, and he's working out at the award show. He's the only guy there. It was unbelievable. And I was like, Patty, how you doing? He goes, oh, Pierre, what are you doing there? I said, same thing you are. Like, it was unbelievable.
Wow.
Pierre,
You lost.
Pierre, just tell us the truth. You were just grabbing a few water bottles.
Yeah, it was.
You lost me, and I went to the gym at 4:30 in the morning. I can guarantee you that's something I've never done. I've never even got to the gym at 4:30 in the afternoon. Pierre McGuire and Max Lapierre. What a podcast tonight. Amazing. Thanks for doing this. The Montreal Canadiens win by a score of 5-4 in overtime. Ivan Demidov ties it up with 2:41 left in regulation, and Cole Caufield scores his second of the game en route to the first star. The opening ceremonies were amazing. We give the Montreal Canadiens a thumbs up for a job well done. We'll talk to you again Thursday night after the Canadiens and the Predators. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Pierre.
Special thanks to Energy Transportation Group, to Playground, to Bittt Tibi, to Betway, to Air Pura, to Fruiterie de Lard, and to Laser Cap, as well as to Vago Italien. And special thanks to all of you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. We are doing our best to give you the best Montreal Canadiens post-game show in the world, not only now, but for many, many years to come. Thank you for your support. Thank you for your confidence. Thanks to Shane Gaumont and Master Control. If you like it, leave us a 5-star review on Apple. It's our way of feeling the love. We'll be back tomorrow night, same time, same place. Craig Button will join me on the Sick Podcast in English tomorrow night at 10 p.m. And I hope you can watch Le Sick Podcast en français demain matin à 10h le matin at 10 a.m. en français. We started about 7 days ago, and I think if you give it a chance, you'll love that show too. It's a different show than this one. It's got different collaborators. We talk about all sports with a huge emphasis on the Montreal Canadiens, but we have different voices, different points of view. You're going to love it, I'm sure. Merci beaucoup. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
And that's a wrap. Hope you don't miss us too much until next time. Follow the Sick Podcast with Tony Marinaro on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, Google Play, and Apple Podcasts. The Sick Podcast is brought to you by Energy Transportation Group, driven to be different. LaVie.tv, embrace your true nature. And Playground, your premier gaming destination.